Hi guys, Like Doctor here, and in this video we're going to go over one of the key moves to all great golfers. All the best golfers in the world have done this. We're going to talk about how Ben Hogan did this move in his golf swing, but you'll find the same thing with Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and everybody else that's on the PGA Tour. And more importantly, high handicappers are never doing this move right. So I never see high handicappers that are doing this correctly. I see all great golfers do this correctly, and that's the wide, narrow, wide, or lag and release in the golf swing. And we're going to go over how Ben Hogan does this, and I'm also going to walk you through the mistakes that a high handicapper is making and give you a link to a video for how to do this correctly called the wide, narrow, wide video. All right, so if we get started here, this is a look at Ben Hogan's swing, and one thing you'll notice in the takeaway, we talk about a wide swing arc. That means that his club is making a fairly wide arc on the way back, and this means that his arms are staying straight in the backswing. So I'm going to mark his club head here. Notice how his arms aren't bending as his club is about waist high in the backswing. So starting out with a nice wide arc, as he goes to the downswing, he creates a narrow arc. And he's doing this by a couple of things. Now his right arm is bending, and more importantly, his wrists are cocking or hinging, however you want to look at it. Very similar to the same manner you would use a hammer. So you're letting your wrist cock or hinge as you're starting down, and this is the narrow portion. So when the club is parallel to the ground on the way back, very wide swing arc. As he's coming down on the way through, narrow swing arc, by creating an angle between his right arm, letting his right arm bend a little bit, and creating an angle between his right arm and the club head. And he's essentially made a lever with his golf swing. Now the next move, the wide in the follow through, is the most important move that you have in your swing. It creates about 70% of the club head speed that you have, and really allows the club to turn into a whip so that you can get a lot of great club head speed. So here's this angle built up, and then let's click a couple frames farther into the release. Now that angle is fully released here. The angle between his right forearm and the club is completely gone, and he's extended this club out. Both arms are straight, and he's released that angle. So at the bottom of his swing, he's creating a whip with the club head that allows him to get great club head speed, and you're going to find this in every great golfer, and this is going to be absent in every high handicap golfer swing. So now let's take a look at a high handicap golfer and see how they're doing this incorrectly. Okay, so now let's compare the same swing with that of a higher handicapper swing, and you'll see the differences. And this is something I see all the time. We'll compare the takeaway first. Ben Hogan again, nice, very wide takeaway. Now you can see at the same point, the higher handicapper, as his hands get about waist high, the club is setting a lot more. So Hogan has nice wide arms. You can see how his arms are much closer to his body, and the club's already starting to set upward as opposed to staying nice and wide and away from his body and getting longer arms. The tendency when you do this now is to want to cast on the downswing. So we'll continue to the top, and you'll see on the downswing here, same move I was talking about. So now in an effort to get speed, it's a casting motion. So the club is going out away from the body and now losing a lot of that lag. So if we stop the hands and arms just before the right leg there, we can see that this angle has lost most of the lag in an effort to get some club head speed. So this club's bending because of the speed of the camera. It's not actually bending in a real swing. If we look at a lag position here with Ben Hogan, same position with the hands and arms here basically, but you can see that Ben Hogan's club is lagging behind much farther. Now the last piece, as I mentioned, is a really important piece, is what are the hands going to do to impact, and what is the club going to do. So now from this point, the club is going to move about 5 feet or so, 5 or 6 feet to get to the ball, and the hands are only going to move a few inches. Okay, so now we have, here's just before impact, the hands have moved maybe 6 to 8 inches. The club has now moved 5 feet. Now the same position with the hands on the right side of the screen for the higher handicap golfer are still going to move that same 6 to 8 inches, but the club's moving only half that distance. So the club's only moving 2 to 3 feet, and this is really, really making it difficult to get club head speed. So the key here is lag and release and creating a lever with your golf swing. So let's now go over the 3 basic moves of this, and I'll kind of walk you through them in person. Okay, so we just watched in that video how Ben Hogan uses a wide, narrow, wide swing shape to get great distance, very easy distance, and to be really, really consistent. We all know he's one of the greatest ball strikers of all time. And we can also see from other videos I've done how all great PGA Tour players do the exact same thing. They're all using lag and release to get good club head speed and really good contact. Further in that video, I showed you a high handicap golfer that was, about a 20 handicap or so, that was not getting good wide, narrow, wide technique, and he wasn't getting lag and release. And that's the big difference I see between high and low handicap golfers. If you have good lag and release, you're going to hit the ball with some good speed, and you're going to be a fairly low handicap. So let me go over the three basic pieces of wide, narrow, wide, and then I'm going to attach a video at the end that's going to help you to actually work through these. So first, in the takeaway, the wide part, I want to make sure that both my arms are pretty straight and I'm getting a nice wide arc as I'm going back. Now as I start in the downswing, now I'm narrowing this arc. So you can see I got some lag built up. There's an angle between my right forearm and this club, and the club is much more narrow. So when the club head was waist high on the way back, it was wide, it was out here. As I came down, I have lag and the club is much more narrow, or much closer to my body. And then the most important part, the part where you actually get the speed from this, is the release. So lag itself doesn't do anything for you. Lag's not going to get you any speed. It's the release of that lag that gets you club head speed. So that's move number 3. I'm going to go wide in the release, take advantage of all that potential energy I built, and get tons of speed with very, very little effort. So that's the general construct of how it works, and it's great to know how it works. Well, now we have to know how to put it into your golf game. So it doesn't do you any good if you know what you're supposed to be doing. Hopefully my bag doesn't blow over here. But it doesn't do you any good if you know what you're supposed to be doing if you don't know how to do it. So go ahead and click this link in the bottom right of your screen. That's going to take you to the wide, narrow, wide drill. And we're going to go through exactly how to do this step by step so you can start hitting it farther than you ever thought possible, and very, very consistent, just like Ben Hogan.
Now it's time to take action. Don't let another year pass and still be frustrated with your golf game. This is your year to beat all of your friends. Go to the description below and click the link to sign up for your free membership. It will never cost you a dime, and you'll receive over 2.5 hours of detailed, eye-opening video lessons. Plus, you will be able to see the remainder of this video, only available if you click the link on this particular video. Be the first of your friends to join our 40,000 plus free members. We look forward to having you on our team.